We're getting into the visitation of Mighty God AHAYAH, his all-consuming fire, the spirit of the sword, visiting the iniquities of the sinners and all whom hate him in the earth. And folks, I have to tell you, I've been visited by Mighty God AHAYAH. He's purging and purifying those who love him and consuming those who hate him. So let's get into scripture to see what it says about the visitation of Mighty God AHAYAH, starting off with Hosea 9:7, that says, "The days of the visitation are come, the days of recompense are come. Israel shall know it. The prophet is a fool, the spiritual man is mad, for the multitude of thine iniquity and the great hatred. AHAYAH Mighty God is longsuffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations. Thou shalt be visited of Mighty God AHAYAH, Mighty God AHAYAH of hosts, with thunder and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. Thou therefore, O AHAYAH Mighty God of hosts, the Mighty God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors, Selah. And what will you do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Therefore, now go, lead the people into the place of which I have spoken unto thee. Behold, mine angel shall go before thee. Nevertheless, in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them. Then will I visit their transgression with the rod, and their iniquity with stripes. For they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, who is Eve, saying, Peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore shall they fall among them that fall. In the time of their visitation they shall be cast down, says AHAYAH Mighty God. I will surely consume them, said AHAYAH. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree, and the leaves shall fade, and the things that I have given thee shall pass away from them. Shall I not visit them for these things, says AHAYAH Mighty God? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? They are vanity and the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out her inhabitants. The fear of AHAYAH our Mighty God tended to life, and he that had it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. And it shall come to pass in that day that AHAYAH our Mighty God, our El Elohi, shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit of hell, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Thus says AHAYAH Mighty God, our El Elohi, unto this people. Thus have they loved to wander. They have not refrained their feet, therefore AHAYAH doth not accept them. He will not now remember their iniquity and visit their sins. Again, AHAYAH doth not accept them. He will now remember their iniquity, their sin, and visit their sins. Therefore, thus says AHAYAH Mighty God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. You have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says AHAYAH. Wherefore, their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They shall be driven on and fall therein. For I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, said AHAYAH our El Elohi, our Mighty God. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, said AHAYAH Mighty God of hosts. For the day is come, that the time that I will visit thee. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, who is Judah, who is Eve. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom, who is Queen Elizabeth. He will discover thy sins. That in the day that I shall visit the transgressions of Israel, upon him I will also visit the altars of Bethel, and the horns of the altar shall be cut off, and fall to the ground. The best of them is as a briar, the most upright is sharper than a thorn hedge. The day of thy watchmen and thy visitation cometh. Now shall be their perplexity. Mine anger was kindled against the shepherds, and I punished the goats. For Ahiah, mighty God of hosts, had visited his flock, the house of Judah, and had made them as his goodly horse in the battle. For lo, I will raise up a shepherd in the land, which shall not visit those that be cut off, neither shall seek the young one, nor heal that is broken, nor feed that standeth still. But he shall eat the flesh of the fat, and tear their claws in pieces. The consumption, the all-consuming fire. And in the greatness of thine excellency thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee, that thou sentest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. I, Ahiah, mighty God, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me in this wilderness. They shall be consumed, and they shall die. Separate yourselves from among this congregation, you righteous, that I may consume them in a moment. I, mighty God, shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. If you forsake Ahiah your mighty God, and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt, and consume you, after that he had done you good. I have pursued mine enemies, and destroyed them, and turned not again until I have consumed them. And I have consumed them, and wounded them, that they could not arise. They are fallen under my feet. By the blast of mighty God Ahiah they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of Ahiah shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume into smoke, shall they consume away. Consume them in wrath, mighty God Ahiah, consume them, that they may not be, and let them know that mighty God Ahiah, our El Elohi, ruled in Jacob, Israel, unto the ends of the earth, Selah. Let them be confounded, Ahiah, and consumed that are adversaries to my soul. Let them be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my hurt. How are they brought into desolation, as in a moment they are utterly consumed with terrors. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble. Let the sinners be consumed out of the earth, Ahiah, I pray thee, and let the wicked be no more. Bless thou Ahiah, O my soul, praise ye Ahiah. And the destruction of the transgressors and of the sinners shall be together, and they that forsake Ahiah thy mighty God shall be consumed. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of mighty God Ahiah, El Elohi of hosts, and despiseth the word of the Holy One of Israel. Now, therefore, be you not mockers, lest your bands be made strong, for I have heard from mighty God Ahiah of hosts a consumption even determined upon the whole earth. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watched for iniquity are cut off. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, which is pig, pork, and the abomination, and the mouse, the rat, shall be consumed together, says Ahayah, our mighty God. I will surely consume them, said Ahayah, mighty God. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor fig on the fig tree, and the leaves shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen, Ahayah, that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name. For they have eaten up Jacob, who is Israel, and devoured him, and consumed him, and have made his habitation desolate. When they fast, I will not hear their cry, and when they offer burnt offerings and oblation, I will not accept them, but I will consume them by the sword, and by the pestilence, by the famine and the pestilence, says Ahayah, mighty God. Therefore, thus says Ahayah, mighty God, concerning the prophets that prophesy in my name, and I sent them not. Yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land. By sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung which is shit upon the face of the earth. And they shall be consumed by the sword, and by the famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowl of heaven, for the fowls of heaven, and for the beasts on the earth. A third part of these shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee, and a third part shall fall by the sword round about thee. And I will scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. Therefore, thus says Ahayah, mighty God, I will even rend it with a stormy wind in my fury, and there shall be an overflowing shower in mine anger, and great hailstones in my fury to consume it. So will I break down the wall that you have daubed with untempered mortar, and bring it down to the ground, so that the foundation thereof shall be discovered, and it shall fall, and you shall be consumed in the midst thereof, and you shall know that I am Ahayah, mighty God, El Elohi. Therefore have I poured out my indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. Their own way have I recompensed upon their heads, says Ahayah, mighty God. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven, who is Ahayah, set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. But he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him, and he shall stand in the glorious land, which by the hand shall be consumed. And the sword shall abide on his cities, and shall consume his branches, and devour them, because of their own counsels. I will utterly consume all things from off the land, said Ahayah, mighty God. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishes of the sea, and the stumbling blocks with the wicked, and I will cut off man from off the land, says Ahayah, mighty God. And this shall be the plague wherewith Ahayah, mighty God, will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Mighty God AHAYAH, or El Elohi, shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. I also will laugh at their calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. For our El Elohi AHAYAH is a consuming fire. And there came a fear on all, and they glorify Mighty God AHAYAH, saying that a great prophet is risen up among us, and that Ahayah, mighty God, has visited his people. Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul. Have your conversations honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, that may by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify Mighty God AHAYAH in the day of visitation. Blessed be Mighty God AHAYAH of Israel, for he had visited and redeemed his people. Thank you for listening.